friends, today I'm going to share the story of a woman who, driven by poverty and her children's desires, was forced to take a wrong step. As we all know, in today's world, no one gives anything for free. For everything, something is always asked in return. One such woman went to a shop to buy clothes for her children for Eid. She asked the shopkeeper for clothes, but in exchange for those clothes, what did the shopkeeper ask for? And why was this woman compelled to take a wrong step? All of this will be revealed in today's story. This is the story of a woman whose life was once full of happiness. She had a husband, children, and a joyful home. Everyone smiled. There was no worry about food or clothing. If the children needed something, their father would immediately bring it to them, and the mother was always happy, grateful to God for everything. But life doesn't always remain the same. One day, unexpectedly, her husband passed away. That day marked the end of peace in her life. The lively home became desolate. After her husband's death, she managed to get by for a year with the little money he had saved. She could provide for her children using that money. But once that ran out, the real struggle began. She would go to her parents, her brothers, and sometimes even to her in-laws, asking for help, but when nothing came through, she started working at people's homes, washing dishes, cleaning houses, and washing clothes just to manage 2 meals a day. But life isn't just about food. When night approached or there was a wedding, the mother's heart would break seeing her children's wishes. She didn't have enough money to buy them new clothes or shoes. The children, unaware of her struggles, would demand new clothes. The neighbor's kids have new clothes and shoes for Eid. Why don't we have them? You didn't give us new clothes last time, please get us some this time. These innocent children had no idea of the pain their mother was enduring. They only knew their desire for new clothes, their wish to be happy on Eid. And the mother, she was determined to see her children happy. She would do anything for their smiles. The children's wish was simply new clothes and shoes like the other children, and to go out and celebrate Eid. They didn't know how hard their mother was working, how she was getting exhausted from working at others' homes, just to provide for them. The woman, despite everything, decided to fulfill her children's wish. Last Eid, I couldn't give them new clothes or the things they wanted, but this time, no matter what, I'll make them happy. So, she went to her relatives, asking for help, but no one could provide any. Her parents were struggling too. Her brothers refused, and her in-laws suggested she should remarry. They said, "You are alone now. If you remarry, a good man will take care of you and your children." Hearing this suggestion, the woman's heart broke. Maybe she would have remarried if it was for her happiness alone, but she thought, how can a man who didn't give birth to my children love them like their father did? He may keep me happy, but he will never give my children the happiness their father gave them. She decided she would never marry again. She would endure every hardship herself, but her children would never suffer under the care of a stepfather. When she left her in-laws' house, the sun was burning hot above her head, but in her heart, only one fire burned: how to make her children happy. She walked down the street, passing by countless people, feeling like every face was unfamiliar, every door closed. She kept asking herself, should I now sell my dignity for my children's happiness? But then, she shook herself and thought, no, I cannot do that. She felt as if the walls of her life were closing in on her, leaving her with no options. She was out of money, her children were insistent, and every door seemed to be shut. The woman began to consider another path. She thought, for my children's happiness, if I have to remarry, maybe I will. But there were only 2 days left until Eid, and who gets married at such short notice? Whoever did would not be able to marry before Eid. The children were asking for happiness on Eid day itself, so that option was closed too. The woman was left empty-handed, with a broken heart, and still struggling with what to do next. She returned home with teary eyes. Upon entering, she quietly sat down, her head resting on her knees, lost in thought. What should she do? Where should she go? Whom should she ask? Suddenly, she remembered something her neighbor had told her a few days ago. Her neighbor had mentioned a man who provided clothes on credit. He would give clothes first, and the money could be paid later. As long as the installment was completed, there was no issue. The woman's eyes sparkled with a new hope, as if her heart had found a final glimmer of strength. She felt like fate had knocked on her door. The faces of her children flashed before her eyes, and a prayer escaped her heart. "Oh Allah, if this is the way, make it easy for me, and if there is harm in this path, protect me." With this hope, she knocked on her neighbor's door. She immediately went to her neighbor and asked, "Where can I find that shopkeeper who gives clothes on credit? I need to get clothes for my children." Her neighbor gave her the shop's address and the owner's name, but she also said one thing: "Look, sister, the shopkeeper is a bit strange. He has certain conditions that not everyone can meet." The woman asked in surprise, "What kind of conditions?" "I'm only buying clothes for my children. I'm not doing anything wrong." The neighbor replied, "I can't say anything. You go and see for yourself. If the conditions seem fair, then take the clothes. If not, come back." The woman thought to herself, "I won't take any wrong step. If things are okay, fine. If not, I'll return empty-handed." The next day, she went to the shop. Just like any regular shopkeeper, the man began showing clothes, but she stopped him immediately. "Brother, before you show me the clothes, let me tell you something. I don't have money right now, but I heard you give clothes on credit." The shopkeeper smiled and said, "Yes, sister, we do, but the prices are a bit higher for credit, and one more thing, we don't give clothes without certain conditions because many people take the clothes and run without paying." The woman asked, "So what are the conditions?" "If it's a stamp, I'll get it done. I just need clothes for my children." The shopkeeper's tone changed slightly. He said, "No, sister, no stamp is needed, but our conditions are a bit difficult." He leaned forward and asked, "Sister, can you read and write?" The woman replied, "Yes, I can read a little." The shopkeeper took out a book from under the counter and said, "This book contains all our conditions. You can read them at your leisure. If you agree to them, we'll give you the clothes. If not, just leave quietly without arguing." She opened the book and began reading it slowly. Her hands trembled as she read the first condition: "Any woman who comes for clothes on credit must first come in front of us, remove her burqa and all her clothes, and stand completely exposed. We will make a clear video of her in which her face and body will be fully visible. This video will remain with us until the full payment is made. If you fail to pay on time or refuse to pay in between, we will upload this video on a dirty website, and the money earned from it will be added to your debt." The woman's heart froze, and her hands shook. She felt embarrassed and horrified. The second condition was even worse: "If you do not accept the first condition, then you must have a physical relationship with us. Whenever we call or ask you to come, you must come immediately, and this will continue until your debt is fully paid. If you refuse to come at any point, we will use the first video against you, or we will file a false case against you in the police." The third condition was even more shocking: "If you do not accept the first two conditions, you must provide a legal stamp stating that the house you live in is in your name. If you fail to pay on time, we will transfer the house into our name and sell it to recover the amount. This stamp will be legal, and if you refuse later, we will sell the house using your signature." The woman's color drained as she read these terms. Her hands were shaking, and the book felt like a burden in her hands. But in her heart, she knew she could never accept the first two conditions, because she was an honorable woman. She thought, "Maybe I would have agreed to the house condition if I owned one, but I live in a rented house, so that doesn't apply." With that, she closed the book, placed it silently on the shopkeeper's desk, and walked out without saying a word. Her heart was heavy, her eyes filled with tears, and her steps trembled as she walked away from the shop that she had approached with hope, only to return with humiliation, fear, and shame. As she stepped out, she saw another shop right across the street. A different shopkeeper was standing there, observing her from afar. He could tell from her face that she was distressed and sorrowful. This man knew everything about the deceitful shopkeeper who trapped women in his false promises. He understood how he exploited helpless women for his own desires. This new shopkeeper was a man of faith. He thought to himself, "This woman is not ready for anything wrong. She is just fighting her circumstances. If I don't help her, she might break." With a gentle voice, he called out, "Sister, if you want clothes, "You can take them from my shop." She immediately replied, "Brother, I don't have money. I went to the other shop for clothes on credit." The shopkeeper smiled and said, "You can pay later. There's no rush. The happiness of your children is what matters." The woman's heart trembled. She thought of the first shopkeeper and the terrifying conditions. She said, "Brother, I can't accept those terms. I am very desperate, but I can't sell my dignity." The shopkeeper gently replied, "Sister, I have no conditions, no videos, no physical relations, no stamps. Just pay when you can. There's no pressure, no force. Just take the clothes for your children." Still, the woman was hesitant. Fear had already taken root in her heart, and she wondered if this was another trap. With a trembling voice, she said, "No, brother, I don't want anything, thank you." The shopkeeper saw her state and said, "Sister, I am fasting. I can't lie to you. I have no bad intentions. I just want to help for Allah's sake." But the woman remained silent, her feet carrying her quickly back home. The shopkeeper stood there for a moment, understanding that this woman was honorable and no longer in a position to trust anyone. He quietly followed her from a distance, wanting to know where she lived so that he could help her without anyone knowing. On the way, he prayed, "O Allah, if my intentions are pure, grant me the ability to help this woman with dignity, a help that comes from the heart, not just words." When he saw her house, he quietly turned back. Later that evening, the shopkeeper returned. Without saying anything, he put money for clothes into an envelope, slipped it under her door, and left without leaving any trace. No name, no sign, just an act of kindness for Allah's sake. That night, the woman sat silently, praying with her heart full of emotion. When she finished her prayers, she felt an unfamiliar peace. The next morning, as she went about her usual chores, she saw an envelope on the floor. Inside was a bundle of money. She stood frozen, unsure if it was real. She looked at the envelope, and her heart raced. No one had knocked, no one had left a sign. She opened it with trembling hands, and when she saw the money, her heart filled with gratitude. She whispered, "Allah, you heard my prayer. You truly saw me." Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were tears of gratitude, no sorrow. She immediately bought clothes and shoes for her children and, on Eid, took them out to celebrate. She felt peaceful, knowing that she had never begged anyone but Allah, and He had answered her prayers. She prayed again, "O Allah, you know the condition of every heart. You are the one who brings light into darkness and comfort after pain. Grant us halal sustenance and protect us from humiliation. Open paths for those in need and never let them compromise their dignity. O Allah, keep us firm on the right path when everything seems bleak. Our hearts are in your hands." And with that prayer, she knew that no matter what happened, she could always rely on Allah's